Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. However, I don't think Cubby is quite back yet because that destruction from Cloud9 against CLG was so massive that it broke Cubby's camera too.
I don't know what's going on, but you know, I guess I felt the Darshan sign alt from here. The choo
Dude,
choo.
it's even
just
wrecking
doing a
your
number on me.
connection right now, dude. You know what? I'm gonna give you a little bit of a break. I'll try to solo carry basically how Darshan did in that last fight. Although all the rest of Cloud9 did a really damn good job. But ladies and gentlemen, we have our post game halftime show. I thought we were gonna have it with Kangas, but Kangas has stepped out. But I do hear that we actually are getting a quick press conference with the team. So we're gonna take a step back and check out who's on the desk for press conference.
Oh, just right here? Right here? Okay. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Yeah, all right, let's get this over with. I don't have too much time. We got to prep for the next game. So let's get through the questions. Yeah, you there on the left. Rafa, I think was your name. I remember
Yeah,
you last
hey,
time.
Coach Gus, first of all, how come you're on a different team now?
Well, we've been over this. You know, I just like to help out everybody in LCS, and you know, get around, as they say, making sure that everybody's playing to their best. So, you know, just helping where I can.
So then, if I can get a quick follow-up question, that's okay. So in that past game, CLG went for a little bit of a high execution composition with the Vayne top. And there were some skirmishes there that worked out in their favor. But then a couple of the last team fights, you know, what was your reaction to that?
Well, you know what? You don't demand respect. You earn it. Now, Cloud9 Academy, they earned our respect on the Rift today. You know, they're a tough opponent and so far one of our toughest of the season. So props to them for that win, honestly. But they better watch out because, you know, we're coming in even more hungry for this next one. In terms of the thoughts on the match and how the late game played out, well, obviously everything stems from what we set up for ourselves, and we had a more focus on that early game. Now winning is not everything, but obviously making the effort to win is. Now I think we made a great effort to win that early game, and that's reflected in our clear focus in that jungle invade and early ganks, and that's something that you can continue to expect from us. You know, don't get comfortable when you're fighting CLG.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to, you know, I got to set up my recording setup here to make sure we get this interview as. All right, here we go. I'm ready. See?
All right. Next time, please have those set up ahead of the interview. Again, I don't have that much time. But do you have a question?
I'm trying to be official here, as I know that you're a very official assistant coach, Gis. But assistant coach Gis, what do you think? So dealing with C9, you know that this team's going to try and go for scaling. You tried to break that early. This next game, we're going to see you guys potentially match that scaling. Are we going to see you maybe try and match what C9's doing? Or do you think that sticking to the game plan is the best thing for CLG?
Sure. Well, you know what? Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. So first off, I can tell you the triple will bring that enthusiasm into this next game as he did that last one. Let me tell you, this kid's cracked, okay? You know, and with that firepower on our team, let's just say I have confidence that we can close this one out because ain't no one handling that smoke. So expect some big things from us in matching what Cloud9's going to attempt. Next question.
Okay.
Got any others?
Assistant coach, guess if I can get one more question in before I'm good on my part. Also, I've got my setup ready as well. Sorry, I didn't have it before. But going into this next match, you already answered that you're not going to be changing up your game plan as you know you expect. This is your identity as a playstyle. But how do you feel? What the team must do in order to make up for some of the errors that occurred during their execution this past game?
Well, you know what? Failures are expected by losers, but they're ignored by the winners, you know? So, you know, that Baron call was close. We played it a little loose. But don't you know, doesn't matter. Going into the next game, we got a fresh mental, and we're going to make sure that we're a little more clear on our comms, whether we're going to go for the fight, whether we're going to go for the objectives. So we just got to follow the steps, follow the game plan that we know is laid out for us, and I think that'll bring us to victory. Any other questions?
Yeah, so in the jungle with Rosethorn, you know, a lot of times for CLG, things have been all roses, as he has been one of the top performers, but Malice seemed to be a real thorn on your side. You know, you put him behind early, still got the best of you. You threw 3 bans at him. Do you think we're going to see 3 bans again, as you know, that Hecarim still came rampaging at your team, or swap up strategy maybe that way?
Well, you know what? I will say, again, props to Cloud9. They're a difficult team to beat in the pick and ban phase. We feel a little pressured. And I'll also add that some people are born on third base, going through life thinking that they already hit a triple. Meanwhile, our team, we've worked for what we've got. We worked hard for this opportunity. And even when our base was under siege and our turrets falling, we kept working hard to try and find ways back into that one. So I don't think it came down necessarily to the champion pool, as a lot of people in Twitch chat, I'm sure, are demanding we change up. It more came down to execution. So I still feel strong with our prep and our strategy going into that one. Any other questions? Final questions? Final questions before we close out here. I really got to get back to the team.
Okay, one final question here for you, assistant coach guest. I wasn't going to bring this up, but in that last fight, I think I remember looking over to the side and I saw you angrily storm out after the last fight there. Can you comment on your reaction?
Well, I may be slightly ashamed that that's now canon since you brought it up. But let me tell you this: gold medals aren't really made of gold. They're made of sweat, determination, and a harder to find alloy called guts. Okay, so I just want to say it doesn't matter my response, my reaction to it, because the team's got guts, the team's got grit, and the team's gonna bring it to this next one. And with that said, I do got to make it back to the team now. So I'm gonna close this out here. Thank you for your questions. No more questions. Got to get back to prep for the next game. All right, we're done. Yeah, we're done. We're done.
I like the jersey. I feel like, going with the throwback CLG look, definitely something that really benefited our assistant coach Kiss in that one.
I love his ability to have some really typical PR answers and responses. He just dodging the juicy stuff,
He's been doing his research,
Yeah.
You gotta that's why you give him press duties. It's where it's at. But I think that was a fun last game. I love when we have two different styles clashing, and especially when not only it's two different styles, but two of the better teams that we have in the standings of Academy. I think that we did see a lot of moments of why these two teams are at the top of our table. I think at the end it just ended up CLG's, they fell a little bit behind early. I think they made some of the risky calls that they had to make throughout the game. Just couldn't get all of them to convert. Specifically, I'm thinking about that 20-minute Baron call. I think that was the big turning point where all of a sudden C9 were tough to break after that one.
And for CLG, I think credit is due with this team consistently making these early game plans. And for the most part, the execution is coming through. It was what Cloud9 did in response that was so damn impressive because, as we mentioned before, a lot of teams and a lot of the community reaction is like, oh man, Cloud9, they don't do anything, they just scale, and somehow teams just let them scale. It's like, no, Cloud9 are actively making moves to protect their resources and minimizing damage across the entire map. You look at Darshan, knowing that he's not going to get as much done towards the top side trying to farm against the Vayne without both summoner spells.
That hover bot was a really good read.
Hovering bot, protecting bot lane, because King and Isles, they haven't been touched by this aggression, and they stopped CLG throwing that momentum from the top side of the map towards bot lane and trying to affect and slow down King and Isles. The fact that he decelerated that and stopped that, oh man, it was good stuff. But we do need Kangas to come back with us because I want to see our host back. I still don't know where he went during all these press conferences. Kangas.
Hey, sorry guys. Sorry. Yeah. I just had to step out for a quick second. I had a phone call right there. But I heard the end of that one. Darshan in our super heavyweight matchup playing the Scion into that Vayne. Playing more for the global, but also still playing to shut down the Vayne. We mentioned it in the cast, that first item, Frozen Heart, actually really impactful in stopping Dokla from being able to then try and get a lead in the lane, and then that engage to end the game. 3-champ knockup with the ults. I think maybe they were listening to us in the pre-show hyping up this top lane matchup because it definitely felt like that was an impactful lane.
Darshan's Scion for that last fight, it felt like Aaron Donald the last few plays of the Super Bowl, just going to sprint and go tackle the QB of Dokla. That was a crazy ult. I know that CLG, they had to try something. They were put in a bind. I love that CLG are never afraid to make those plays, but the answer from C9, too good.
So the thing about CLG, and specifically Triple, is their ability to actually execute in these high impact moments. It's not just that they're willing to take the fight, but if you watch Triple's positioning specifically, most of those fights I was just like, where's Ari? Because that he's landed so many charms, so many clutch engages, and consistently I saw Triple being the one to set up the plays for CLG, or rather turn the plays back in their favor if they were swinging towards Cloud9's. But by that last fight, they're grouped in the pit. It's very tough to actually get out of that scenario once a Hecarim and a Sion are jumping on top of you. And it's so sad because we saw so many examples where CLG were able to find that way back into the game. It was a bloody game. There were a lot of team fights. I counted like 5 different full-on 5v5 team fights in one single game, Rafa. And I mean, if this is a preview for what we get from game 2, I think they're just warming up. I'm hoping that we get more. But with that said, I'm actually just hearing right now that we're ready for Champ Select. So you won't have to answer me there, Rafa. I'll let the two of you take it yourselves and get us ready for pick and ban going into game number 2.
Just gave Kangas the stank face like that, Rafa?
You know what? That's for missing out on the press conference, man.
He froze him out.
Yeah. I keep expecting that during the press conferences, or if we're getting pulled and called by a recruiter, I'm expecting Kangas to show up. And it's always a dude that like sounds like him, but it's never him. And it makes me feel like I'm being abandoned by my good friend. So, you know, next time, Kangas, show up to the press conference. I want to see you asking Coach Giz the questions as well.
All right, well, I'm just going to take a sip of tea as we are diving back into the draft, and I'll let the two of you sort that out. I know that I'm in the middle of you on the desk, but I don't want to get in the middle of this beef. But the beef that I do want to get into is this draft. And C9, at the moment, against CLG. Rafa, we can define this as the salty run back.
Yeah, it's same bands across the board. Cloud9 say, well, we don't have to change anything. We're just going to run back the Zeri first pick. But the first change actually comes through for CLG, locking in this Aphelios. I'm curious if that will change, whether they will go with the Tom Kench once again, or if they'll go back to a Thresh for Breezy.
And we could potentially see an early jungle pick if CLG wanted to get a little bit crazy. They could take something like a Hecarim. We have seen that rising in priority. I know that Rosethorn is also really liked. The Viego had a great performance on it yesterday in one of their wins. But no, will still be the Volibear. So this is an adaptation, saving that support counter pick, expecting Malice and C9 to show the Hecarim, and that will be the case. And the Yuumi follows right on up.
Is there a far more aggressive support that you can lock in as Breezy to punish this Yuumi lane, Cubby?
You could go for something like Nautilus. I'm not a huge Nautilus fan, but it does enable you to force really hard early against the Yuumi. I think that Yuumi's tough because it feels like when you take something like a Tom Kench, that's not something where you want to roam with, roam around the map. It's something where you kind of feel pressure to stick around and hover your lane. That could be one of the adaptations we see from CLG, getting Breezy on someone that has a little bit more mobility and try and punish Malice with 3 members instead of maybe 2. Send someone else to the party. But CLG, Triple Zari, they were fearful that C9 might take it away in the second phase of the draft. Will not be the case, as CLG hit the ban's going to throw a couple things to protect the Ahri. That Corki, we saw Triple do really well in that lane, but still scared of the package moving forward.
Yeah, Copy making great impact and always threatening CLG to back off, which is why they had to secede so many of the Dragons and were forced into the point where they had to pull off a Hail Mary against Cloud9. Now, notice here that while Corki was banned alongside the Orianna like last time, Victor is available this time around. So I imagine that Cloud9, if they want something for Copy, that will give them team fighting power and control of these choke points in tight spaces, and the Victor is still available to lock down.
So I was surprised to see the Victor ban when CLG was going to lock in Ahri, because traditionally Ahri has been a counter into Victor. So I'm wondering if we do see Copy go for that. We have seen him play a lot of Tryndamere, but C9 still needs some magic damage, and it looks like CLG, Rakan, someone that can make a bit of an impact on the map, definitely someone that's better out of lane outside against the Yuumi, will be the lock-in for Breezy, because then we'll have to see what Copy ends up responding with, and if Darshan ends up blinding that Sion again.
Still need a front line, as Malice is not sufficient enough to be a one-man front line himself, unless Cloud9 just miraculously get super far ahead against CLG. Malice likes to dip more into damage rather than, you know, being a full solo front line himself. Victor being locked in for Copy. They have their magic damage, and now You know, Cloud9, I mean, if they feel comfortable, they can, like you said, Cubby, they can just run back the Scion. And so far, the best answer that CLG responded with was Vayne last time. And if that wasn't enough, I don't know if Darshan is going to be really deterred to pick the tank once again.
You called it. Going to be Scion again for Darshan. It is now 6-0 this season, so no one has beaten this pick yet. Dokla, if anyone's going to beat it, it's going to be Dokla. The Vayne was the response last time. I think Vayne's still all right again into the comp that C9's showing. Let's see if Dokla decides that's going to be the pick. Could be a little bit of a different flavor, as Aurelia, a little bit of a better 1v2 scenario if Malice decides to come top, and that was the flash, but it still will be the Vayne for Dokla.
Okay.
Very
CLG,
similar.
They have made 2 changes. It's just their bot lane duo. Aphelios Rakan this time versus the Jinx and the Tahm Kench. With something like the Rakan, the major change is that you have a little bit more engage power and ways to better disengage from giant engage power from Cloud9, thanks to the quickness, because not only can you charm when you're going forward with the grand entrance, but if you have a giant horse and a big tank trying to charge into you, you can charge them on the entry.
So I think the team fights for Breezy are still going to be a little bit difficult to execute, but where I do like the Rakan and what I want to see out of CLG is I want to see him set up around this mid lane. I think that if you get the flash out of Victor, you have roam power from Breezy on this Rakan. You can trade flash for flash with Volibear and Victor early, and then you can try and set up and really punish that pick in the mid lane. We saw Triple be able to get shove against the Corki, be able to make some effective plays to impact those side lanes, but we never saw CLG truly blow up Copy in the mid lane. So Copy, it will be on the back foot on this Victor. We've seen him navigate a lot of lane phases really well. I've been one to definitely praise Copy. I think that he's had a nice split of Academy and is laned really well, especially when you have a jungler that many people assume are going to be prioritizing camps a little bit more than others. Puts more pressure on solo lanes to play safely. I think Copy's played really well with and around that. And it's going to be a game where, honestly, he's going to be put to the test because you're playing Victor into Ahri and a Volibear. If you lose that flash, you're going to be getting 3-man ganked whenever that lane shoves out if CLG is playing this correctly. So I want to see if CLG can really get a setup around mid and attack this pick. I feel like that's their best way to break the map.
It's not only a benchmark for Copy, as he has talked about before in talking with us on the caster desk, that he doesn't want to be a passenger in games anymore compared to his Academy debut last year. He wants to be the person that is making the flashy plays so that he can stand out and prove that he is a worthy prospect moving into the LCS by next year. Very minimum, right? Whereas Triple, the benchmark for him is, hey, he got a great lead on the Ahri, but CLG were not able to capitalize it and fully translate that into a victory. This time around, they recognized that, you know what? Triple was probably our best performing member with this Ahri pick. Let's try to play more around him. And even though Dokla is still running back this Vayne top, and I still want to see CLG putting resources and investments towards that top side so it doesn't get completely exposed with the ganks that Malice can find on it whenever it's overextended. But you have to unlock Triple first. You need to get him out on the map so that he can be the one proactively pushing for the snowball.
And that's one where on the Volibear, you have that option to 3-camp and then trade flash for flash mid. That's something that it's pretty textbook play for most Volibears. I want to see if CLG and Rosethorn can maybe set that up. I did like the attempt from Rosethorn in the last game to get Malice behind. That was a really interesting early game between the pathing of each jungler. Not often you see a jungler go red, Raptors, Krugs, then to the enemy side. Usually, you finish on the Raptors, so you're closer to the center of the map. But I think that it was creative from Rosethorn. I could see some of the theory and really throwing Malice off his game. It's just C9 were able to punch back, and they won that elongated skirmish in the top side. So maybe it's one where CLG wants to rinse and repeat that same pathing and just play a little bit more cautious around that, because that was a good opener for CLG. It would have been successful if it wasn't for Copy Darshan TPing into the rescue and turning that play around.
Yeah, true. Now, just wanted to give everyone an update at home. There was a trade bug and a little bit of a miscommunication with which champions to trade on the side of CLG. This time around, all the champions should be in their proper places by the time the timer hits
Dokla
0.
really wanted to play Aphelios, right? That was the bug.
I don't think he wanted to play Aphelios. He was like, yo, get rid of this champion. Give me the Vayne, please. And it didn't happen by the time the timer ran out. So, but CLG going to be able to proceed into the game with their intended composition. And we've talked a lot about Triple, Rostor, and Dokla, the game plan for these three once again. Also talking about Copy, I think a little side note, we didn't really get the chance to talk about King in the last game, but King was deathless on the Zeri, and I know there wasn't that much pressure thanks to Darshan being able to hover that one time there was a dive attempt made, but I think it's still notable that King was able to still put out damage, as this is a player that we've been unsure of just because of the situation regarding Cloud9 and how many scrim games he's able to actually get in with this team.
Yeah, but I mean, it also is one where King, as a player throughout his career, he's the winningest player in Oceanic history. Still, he has more titles than any of the orgs do in the region. So I know that we aren't sure how many scrim games King's getting in. He's been public about kind of joking about that as well. But we did hear from him yesterday in the interview, and it's good to see King performing as this Zeri. Honestly, it's fun to just see more Zeri that through. As I know it's a pick that we didn't really hit on as each stream saw it yesterday, but it's a fun marksman in the fact that you are like this off-tank DPS build that's tough to take down, but can do a lot of work in the team fights. And I think it allows for a lot of our marksmen to just have another champion where you can display another skill set on. Saw it from King with some help from his teammates in the last one, and seems to be the pick for this game as well. They still think that champ's really strong.
We are getting into game soon, ladies and gentlemen. Guarantee it. Just making sure that all the players this time got their champions loaded in correctly, and we'll be into game soon. The first couple of minutes of this game. Oh, look at this! We got an opening cinematic. This is the first time that we're getting it on the Academy stream. Let's go, baby!
Love to see it. I mean, I don't love to see... Actually, no. Cloud Dragon first is good. That means no Cloud Soul. That's where it's at. As we got these guys on the LCS Rift. It's Academy. Week 6, Day 2. We got our first and third team going up against each other in CLG. Looking to even this up. Stay at the top of the standings. Keep in mind, if C9 win this game, they tie CLG for first.
Rosethorn now brute forcing with a couple members of CLG, at least from C9's perspective. But now Malice sees multiple members, including the bot lane, so he is succeeding pressure so far. Rosethorn not putting a ward down, but he made the movements
he bluffed it.
Yeah, he bluffed putting a ward down.
Interesting. I wondering how that's going to impact Malice's clear. It does mean that Rosethorn isn't going to swap over to a sweeper, which is also curious. But maybe Rosethorn, he is going to sneak into this blue side undetected. And maybe that ward, there is a good ward dropped by the side of C9 to see if CLG goes for an invade or goes for a late Raptor ward. And Copy, with how powerful Victor's level 1 is, will be able to deter that. As it looks like Rosethorn going to walk to the top side. And Malice actually popped Sweeper on the blue buff and didn't spot the ward. So Rosethorn got the Sweeper cooldown. Giga Brain.
I wonder what the comms are like if Malice like walks over and he's like, wait, did he not put a ward down? I can't find the ward.
This guy, man. It's about sending a message. As this time around, Rosethorn. So I did tease the 3-camp from Voldabear where you can trade flash for flash mid. Last game we saw Rosethorn go red, Raptors, into Krugs to be on the top side. This game we're seeing him go red, Krugs, into Raptors. So my eyes are on this mid lane.
Yes.
Copy is already playing really far back in this level 1. So I am curious if we do see Rosethorn trade that flash for flash. And C9, given how they play their level 1, they actually don't know where Rosethorn started. So if Copy's hovering the wrong side of the lane, could be tough for him.
And you can see how this is being set up right now. Triple investing a lot of time into using his spells, trading aggressively on the Copy, trying to get that health advantage instead of pushing the wave so that the wave is still in a good enough spot where Copy is forced to walk up and put himself subject to a potential Rosethorn gank.
And Rosethorn did go for the cross, was not able to trade. Malice, though, is spotted on the Raptors. And Rosethorn, he's skipping over his bot side camps. He's going straight for the Hecarim, trying to get in his clear, up in his face on this red buff.
Malice, Smite is not coming off cooldown. The ward just go. Oh, no.
Oh, he spotted him.
But he spots him with a sweeper once again. And so now he has to back off, trying to see if he can get laners to collapse for him. Smite is secured for Rosethorn.
And he's using this sprinting straight bot lane. I don't think they can go for the dive. I think he's just making sure that Malice doesn't go for the play. So ensuring that his laner can get this wave in safely. Gonna try and spot Malice. Doesn't find him with a Sky Splitter. This is gonna try and set up and ensure that double crab again for Rosethorn. So Malice able to get 5 out of the 6 camps. Rosethorn able to take the red and now should be able to take the double crab.
Yeah, Malice knows that he has no access to any of the camps in Rosethorn's bottom side, just insta-recalling so that maybe he can beeline towards the top side and get at least the crab.
I will see if Doko ends up going for it. Rosethorn, he has got 3 camps still that he wants to rotate out, so I think this is better for him to take these instead of going for the double crab immediately. But it is something where I like seeing Rosethorn take this matchup. I said in game 1, you have to make good use out of Voldabear's first 2 clears. And Rosethorn, each of those clears, utilizing his winning sides, has gotten up in the face of Malice and at least taken something away from him.
And red buff does make Malice's ganks not as strong, of course. But with Ghost and Devastating Charge, as long as someone is overextended, you can still deliver the message and burn at least a summoner spell.
Yeah, and Dokka should use his Trinket on this wave. As Darshan base TP'd back, he's strong. I think Dokka's going to try and get this one in, but Malice is here to stop it. Dokka, this is not spotted. This is dangerous.
He just tumbled. He just tumbled. If Malice wants to go for it right now, this is a huge wave, of course. I don't think it will be necessarily the case unless they slow him down. Ghost comes out. Condemned doesn't really get the pick, and Dokka knows he's dead. That is first blood. Great patience from Malice.
Yeah, and that's something where Dokka's got to throw down that Trinket. Him not doing it. Malice is able to sneak in there. And now Rosethorn, he's looking for the counter, trying to avoid the sweep. He does so successfully.
Did he sneak in without Malice seeing him?
Yes, he did.
Oh my god. He should be able to just down smash him right here. Oh, Kai Splitter from out of nowhere. Smite comes out from Rosethorn. No Ghost available. Malice, does he get out? He will be able to survive. Rosethorn not wanting to commit the flash.
But Rosethorn, it's still really good for him because not only does he get the Gromp, he gets the Wolves. So Dokka going down, that hurts. Vayne set behind again, but at least Rosethorn spotting Malice is able to recover, makes a really good decision, a nice play, and continues to set this Hecarim behind.
Is he just... He's just crossing the turret, and he's beelining towards the Raptors as well, making sure that he can just deny everything away from
3 camps.
Oh my goodness!
What an alpha!
Now, Copy, it's like, dude, I'm trying my best to get this bear off of your chicken nuggets, man, but dude, I can't do anything. I'm so sorry, Malice.
And he just gets to return to his top side. He's yet to base, so this is gonna be a massive first base from Rosethorn, and he can full clear his camps. I really like that play coming out of CLG. It's something that we've really credited Rosethorn with, a part of his growth as a player. We saw him making these aggressive plays with Golden Guardians last year in Academy, but we never saw him really convert it or turn it into a massive solo lead or a massive lead for his team. Golden Guardians was definitely a team where they flipped a lot of games at first crab. And if it went well, great. If not, the game was over. Seeing Rosethorn kind of go past that, accelerate his jungle knowledge and his pathing to get... you know, these more in-depth paths, clears in, punish enemy junglers. It's been really good to see.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is Rosethorn making an adaptation and recognizing something that Malice did in the first game when they were trying to catch back up in experience. Malice went for the respawn camps, which gives a lot more experience and comeback when you are behind in levels. Rosethorn recognizes that, gets the respawn camps from Malice specifically, as we're actually seeing a 2v2 all-in from Prismal and Breezy. King has to flash and burn heal. He'll be able to get out, but nice pressure from the duo of CLG.
They should be able to get 2 plates here, as that is red-white for Prismal. So, love the proactive flash, the cashing in, a lot of gold going over to the Aphelios. That's big.
Red-white, and that just allows you to shred through the turret plates here. 2 plates over to the side of Prismal. The rest of CLG still don't find themselves at a huge gold advantage at the 7-minute mark, just 1 minute under 8, where Rift Herald will be spawning. But you already see that Rosethorn having a massive camp lead, and not just the number of camps that he has, but the quality of the camps he has based on the experience and the gold he's gotten from them.
So Malice has still Ding 6, but I think Rosethorn is trying to get into the second red buff. As this is synced up, Triple has pushed, his bot lane has pushed. Now, he did just spot the control ward, so he knows that he is spotted out. Malice is transitioning to this side of the map. Yeah, I think that's enough to deter Rosethorn. So good defense being played by C9. But C9 still has to be careful, because at this moment of the game, Ahri Voldabear much stronger than the mid-jungle duo of Cloud9. So Malice is trying to find Rosethorn. He starts up the camp. This is spotted, and Breezy can support this play.
And Isles and King will be giving up a lot of resources as the next wave is crashing into the turret. It's giving Prismal time to collect plates, but Malice this sacrifice from King and Isles will allow him to at least secure the Krugs away, but they know that the red buff is in CLG's control.
It's still an okay response from Malice. He's at least going to get one of his camps. Did burn the smite as Rosethorn takes that one. And Rosethorn is not going to push for the Raptors. His triple is on reset. So just the one. That's okay for C9. Keep in mind, C9, they're still the comp that scales really nicely into this game. So I think Rosethorn getting these camps, yes, it's good, but it's not like anything is incredibly dire for C9. And the best news for them is that while Rosethorn has spent all this time jungling Malice, that Dokla Darshan lane's even. And if Sion's even in that lane, he's way ahead, as we said in the last one.
Breezy looking for the grand entrance. Copy in the minion wave is dodging out on the charm. Triple just looking for more damage. Malice pushes him back, saving Copy from having to burn flash. Copy is super low, sub 200 HP, but will still survive the encounter.
That is going to be enough for CLG to net the Rift Herald. You see Breezy walking up with Rosethorn. Dokla's on reset, so he's strong. And Copy doesn't have TP, so it's still good team plays coming out of CLG to net small advantages. Malice is trying to poke in here, but Rosethorn, oh no.
That's going to be a reset on the Rift Herald.
Oh no. Oops.
Just a little too far from its home in its natural habitat. But Dokla maintaining slight pressure on the top side of the map, and the push on Copy, forcing him to reset, should still give Rosethorn a lot of solo time with this Rift Herald, but I don't think he'll burn it fast enough.
No, it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, they can't check the RE. It's tough. You can get flashed on and die, as if Malice walks up here. Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna force it. Copy's not quite there, and flash from Triple. That's
Don't call me a prophet.
You know, I was willing to believe. Like, maybe, just maybe, you ulti fast enough, but the fact that Copy cannot be there on time is a really dangerous opposition. Oh, no, King just jumped over the wall. Breezy can go for the grand entrance. Remember, no summoner spells on King. Prismal's not quite in range to follow up, though, and King can be scary at range with the burst fire. Setting up with the purple gun. Moonlight Vigil comes out, but they've been locked down by the last chapter, but Breezy finally gets in there, flashing forward with the quickness, charms them both up. That's a death on the King. And Dokla dodging out on the ulti from Darshan, but Malice, he's got the ulti this time around. He can get in range, gets the AoE fear down, knocks him right back into Darshan's waiting arms. Malice picks up the kill.
COG going for 2 plays at once. They do make the one work thanks to some nice plays from Breezy, as the triple summoner spells from C9 just wasn't enough to get King out of there. COG now, they have Shelly. This is first brick going over to Rosethorn.
Oh no! Isles, run! It's a bear! Run! And he's been stunned. He can't attach anyone. Not even the Uber driver will save you. You don't have... What? He still gets out.
He healed up in time. 5 seconds. Copy's rotating.
Isles gets out, and now this is going to be disaster for CLG. Malice and Copy with the rotatos. Breezy doesn't have flash. Gets the grand entrance out. Will survive. Can't say the same about Rosethorn.
Oh, just a little bit greedy, and that's big because Rosethorn, because he goes for that play, he didn't drop Shelly. So first brick doesn't go over to CLG. They have to go back to that bot lane, rinse and repeat if they want it.
Oh, King still
King's
doesn't have... Oh, wait, he barely has flash. Oh, but the last minion auto falling over the wall, and Triple with the electrocute proc will now guarantee this crash.
I thought he had it. That was close from King, but that's another summoner spell down that CLG can punish, and I think CLG this game, it's been a slower early game, but it's been more controlled from CLG. It's been really tough for C9 to approach the river, and we've seen the few mistakes that C9 has made. CLG have been able to punish a bit cleaner. It's really only been the 2 deaths from Dokla in the top side where C9 has been able to successfully punch back by Malice, showing up the right time, Dokla not respecting it.
Darshan might just engage himself into a 1v1 against Dokla. He has a huge armor item advantage against Dokla, so he can just sustain this damage right now. Dokla, even with the Vamp Scepter, I wonder, can he actually survive another all-in and Copy making the rotatos on over? I don't think... Oh, Malice leeching the blue buff. Huge. And do they make the 3-man Goon Squad attempt? I think they are, Kobe.
It's CLG, they're showing bot. Dokla, he's got flash.
Oh, dude, Yumi's here as well. Isles attaching from Mouse, jumps onto Darshan as well, and they are pushing forward under the tower. Darshan taking up the turret aggro, and Dokula just trying to make the great escape and buying enough time, because look at CLG. They've already taken the bot tier 1 turret.
huge.
They're crashing the Rift Herald into the mid lane. They're getting all 5 plates in both of these lanes.
And C9A, it's another instance where they just show too many members. Dokula able to get out. CLG are going to take 3 towers off this play.
Holy camoli, Cubby, the map has just been destroyed open for CLG.
And it's all from C9. This is what can happen when you play scaling comps. When you overcommit, when you show somewhere, the other team gets the window to punish. And when you show those plays don't work out, we see how hard CLG can punish across the map. Is all of a sudden, it is a 4K gold lead for CLG at the 14-minute mark.
They have destroyed 4 turrets, Cubby, before the 14-minute mark. 2 of those were tier 2 as well. And CLG now have so much access and so much control through this bottom half of the map. Thanks to this reset, though, and the teleport being forced from Copy, or Darshan, I should say, Cloud9 will guarantee that they can get the second dragon and slow down CLG.
And this is important for C9 because it does take the sole win con off the table. Delays it by 5 minutes, something that C9 really needs with their composition. They need to buy that time, but it's still a tough situation because look at the pocketbooks of COG. They're coming back out onto the map. They've got Everfrost plus a needlessly large rod on this Ahri. They have a turbo chem tank completed on Rosethorn. And you can see CLG already trying to get back out onto the map and force these plays.
And the other thing, Cubby, that we have to mention is CLG recognizing the mistakes that they made in Game 1 and how Cloud9 were able to counteract and respond and adapt. CLG are now making improvements from just the Game 1 itself and improving on the series and now making a greater stride in this Game 2 as they are now positioned towards the top side of the map.
And Darshan's looking for Prismal, not able to find it. CLG get another tower for themselves, and I think a lot of that comes from Rosethorn. He wanted this jungle matchup again, Rafa, and him switching up that pathing a little bit, getting up in the face of Malice, taking away so many camps. Malice is even now, but the fact they spotted out the Hecarim consistently throughout the early game, that enabled the winning lanes that they drafted to play further up. I know that Dokula went down twice, but that ended up cashing out huge because look at the map at this point of the game. It's 4 towers taken by CLG. They might even get this one off the creeps.
This is genuinely just such a smart game.
They should let that drop. Yeah, only Breeze got local gold.
This is genuinely such a smart game from CLG. And we've talked about Academy. We've had a lot of exciting matches. We've had a lot of bloodbaths in between multiple teams and, teams on the lower end of the standings making their growth. But this is a game where we just saw in Game 1, CLG went for a high execution comp and made some mistakes. Cloud9, great responses, great adaptations to punish. But CLG immediately, not within a day, not within a week, just within the series turnaround, within the second half, they are making the adaptations necessary and still going back with the majority of the core of the composition that they tried to win with in Game 1.
Yeah, and as we get closer to Proving Grounds, this just makes me excited to see some of the best of 3+ series that we could see between these two teams that, once again, are first and third in our standings. CLG trying to win this game to keep that spot in first solo. And with this lead they have, it's going to be so tough for C9 to break it. Now, some of the ways that C9 can break it. Victor's really good at slowing down the game. He brings so much wave clear. We've seen Copy be able to pick up a lot of CS in the back half in these side lanes. Also, Sion Hecarim, we saw what they can do in the last game as both these drafts are pretty similar. It's another scenario where this time around, Prismal does have that LDR second, so he does have some more armor shred, but these guys are still incredibly tanky to get through.
Look at this.
There's no real estate for them to take, and now Malice, he's getting all of his camps taken away. Now he's getting rotated on. Breeze is here.
He's forced to use the ultimate if he can get out, but the chain lockdown is still too much to handle. CLG find themselves the jungler Cloud9 taking him out, and now they have more pressure with this numbers advantage. Cloud9 gonna make an attempt to collapse on a triple, but it's just an ulti for ulti as triple makes the escape.
Looking for the counterplay, but that's an Ahri in the side, not able to find it. Now blue buff and the rest of the jungle of C9 going over to CLG. Look at Rosethorn transition. They took the bot side jungle They find Malice, they kill him. Now they're taking the top side jungle. This is the destruction of all those turrets falling early. You take away the real estate for Hecarim to be out on the map, and CLG, this is how they've been beating so many of the Academy teams, but it's good to see them at the second round robin. They're 3-4 as our top dogs. We wanted to see a game like this where they can punch back against one of the better, stronger teams that we have, more experienced teams that we have in Academy and C9. And they're doing it the way that they've been dominating, especially in that first round robin we had.
And I want to say that it's an evolution of how CLG have been playing, because normally before CLG, we have noted them for being a team that just forces fights, really good fights, and understanding that when their champions are strong and finding advantageous points in the game. And usually it's a huge bloodbath. It's a lot of kills for CLG in the early game. This is one of the most tame games from CLG in terms of kills, but it's all about a pressure game that CLG have been playing on the map by forcing Cloud9 to retreat.
No.
And now they're going to do it again. Malice trying to see if he can sneak away this red buff, but he just can't. I mean, Copy and Isles are here. It looks like the red buff finally was secured by Malice. He's able to get something back. But this amount of strangleholding that CLG are doing with the small amount of kills that they have is really impressive.
Now, CLG, they should be able to pick up this dragon for free. What I want to see is what happens around this Baron. Because at the moment, CLG are taking away every camp from Malice, but the farm is still being traded across the board. CLG don't have the power to siege on these inhibitor turrets yet, so C9 can turtle, make sure they're trading resources 50-50, besides those jungle camps that are going over to CLG. This Baron is the way that CLG can try and break those inhibitor turrets, and I think it's really important to see CLG try and do it quick, because we have seen how C9's comp can scale. CLG have a humongous lead, but a couple slip-ups, and all of a sudden we could be looking at another game where C9 push it back in their favor. So I think it's really important to see how CLG can play around this Baron, as it is about to come out on the map. Keep in mind, game one, they went for that 20-minute take. They ended up fumbling that a tad, as C9 were able to punch back. Let's see if CLG can get a cleaner setup.
CLG so far have been enjoying the fruits of a map that has been opened up incredibly the first 20 minutes of the game. Cloud9 are doing everything that they can to stabilize and scale on up. Copy, as you already talked about before, Copy has to be one of the main characters in these upcoming fights here, in controlling the space and terrain on this Victor, pumping out magic damage all the while. But for CLG, a lot of this success, thanks to Rosethorn's pathing, thanks to Triple's pressure, has now netted them just an all-access paths to each of these jungle quadrants. You can see how desperate Cloud9 are, and not just securing and holding on to these towers, but trying to see if they can sneak out any of the jungle camps back to their side, because it all belongs to CLG.
CLG are stacked up in the 4-1. And if they are able to escort this in, maybe they look for the Baron, but C9 at least able to save this crash. Darshan, for the third time, trades flash for flash.
Rosethorn is between two members of Cloud9. They're going to go for the re-engage. Malice tries to catch him up. Huge AoE fear. Copy teleporting in. Finds a beautiful Chaos Storm, but CLG are kiting back beautifully. Is there anyone else that can flank? Is there anyone else can engage from Cloud9? Darshan looks for the flash, but Dokla, a clutch condemn, finds the charm. King not going to go down quite yet. Dokla looking for more damage. CLG, despite what could have been a great turnaround from Cloud9, managed to get out with no one dying.
That was a really good engage from Malice, as that ult found 4, but Prismo was just able to sneak out with barely any HP. Now, it is a lot of summoner spells burned on each side, so maybe C9 can find something, but I do want to take a second look, as we've seen Darshan now 3 times trading his ult for Ahri's ult, but this time CLG, they're there to hit back. And this gets scary because Malice disengaged in the choke. This is a huge ultimate from him. It's immediately comboed by Copy. Breezy barely survives. Prismal barely survives, but C9 just don't have enough in the tank to chase after this.
And just clutch moments here. You see Dokla interrupting Darshan with the flash, decimating smash, looking for that slow thanks to the condemn. You see even Triple interrupting King on the last bit of damage with the charm. And now CLG, they have this pressure. They know that ultimate abilities from Cloud9 are currently down. Darshan's going to face check it here. Oh, they're looking for the pick, but he misses them. He doesn't find the engage, and Malice just gets eviscerated. Now the rest of Cloud9, they're on the run. Triple has just teleported to the play. Can he get in range? Yes, Spirit Rush. He has Flash. They're looking for the backline. King kiting this one out beautifully, and Copy's still in the backline, but they can't get any damage out. Darshan doing everything that he can to protect his carries, but he still goes down in the end.
And that's Smite. That's the tank down. That should be Baron. As CLG, that time around, they slow the fight down. They play it on their terms. Darshan was a good attempt with the flank engage, but just couldn't get the damage dealers there in time to deal with the pocketbooks of CLG. They hit back. They get the Baron secured, and CLG continue to cruise to what looks to be a Game 2 victory for them, Rafa.
The Baron will be secured. Triple trying to see if he can sneak out this turret as well before Copy and Isles get in range. Triple just had to flash. Copy, I think he also flashed forward as well. Yeah. Huge pickup for Copy and Cloud9.
Bit greedy from Triple going for that wave crash. CLG still trying to greed to turn this around. They should reset. They can get back out on the map and guarantee they take this dragon. But it should be all about the Baron Siege at this point, as they are 4 out of 5 Baron buffs still alive for CLG. And this is where things get tough for C9, because Copy's ability to stall out the game on this Victor against Baron empowered creeps, that gets a lot harder.
Oh, King?
Oh.
King.
This is also a problem.
Can he actually get out? Okay, he skates on out. I always forget how Zeri's E actually interacts with the wall, that if you... I'm assuming that Breezy was trying to interrupt it during the mid-animation, but King, being patient, waits it out, and escapes just fine.
Ooh.
You can see...
He's hunting.
Rosethorn
Malice
still...
is like, I just want my red buff, man. It's every single red buff Rosethorn's been there.
Yeah, CLG are still playing, obviously, the game to win, but Rosethorn still, while pushing forward to win, also has his own mini-game of trying to see how far he can starve out Malice in his own jungle. Just trying to keep him down as much as he can. A sign of respect and understanding that Malice has been a huge damage threat for Cloud9 in a lot of their historical victories here. And Malice still has reached a couple of item spikes as well, but it's coming at a point where we don't know if it is too late for Cloud9, because it is a 7,000 gold lead for CLG, and they are marching into the base.
Now, I will give C9 credit. Off the pick from Triple, they did pick up 2 objective bounties, and were able to slow down this Baron push. Only now is CLG grouped up, and Doko's already in trouble.
Wait, and Doko doesn't really have any support quite yet. No one else was in position. Breezy, but Mouse gets eviscerated by Prismal. The double marksman, the huge knockup from Breezy from downtown, flashing forward, and just wiping out King and Isles from the game. Copy, he's going to do all that he can to stall this one out, but it's still 5 members available for CLG.
Rosethorn missed the Q flash. That's the only reason that Copy is alive, and now CLG, they have 15 seconds till Malice and Isles spawn. They're looking for the game. What a beautiful engage from Breezy to open this one up, Rafa. That Rakan into Yubi, he had the power to find the roams, find the engages, make it a payoff here.
And beautiful charge from Triple. And you said it, Cubby. Breezy, one of the few changes that CLG made into this game. Going from Tom Kenshin to Rakan, the firepower and being able to find picks like that. CLG even out the series.
And I like these best of 2s because sometimes we see big changes. Like yesterday, we saw EG switch up their first pick on blue side after losing game 1 to Dig. This time, though, I like it more when we see the small changes. CLG only switching up that bot lane, taking away the Corki. It's the same comp from C9. And not only the changes in draft, they're small, but that means that you can make the changes in game that sometimes are small that change the landscape of the game. And I feel like that's really what we saw from Rosethorn, switching up that jungle pathing and getting up into the face of Malice at the right time. I think that took away Malice's opportunity to respond elsewhere, took away C9's opportunity to protect their bot lane, and it just gave Rosethorn the ability to find the Hecarim in his jungle, which means that his lanes can just go do what they drafted for, which is win those solo lanes.
And CLG just making a really huge adaptation, or Rosethorn as well, recognizing, you know what, we tried to play specifically for pressure through Dokla's lane to try to get him ahead. We're going to say, you know what, Dokla, you're kind of on your own on this point.
Global taunt Vayne.
Global taunt Vayne, you know, try not to die as much as you can, get as much farm and resources and the attention away from Dokla, even though that we were kind of hyping that top lane matchup. It showed a lot in game 1, but this time around the attention was focused from Rosethorn and the top side to mid lane, unlocking Triple, playing through Triple's pressure against Copy, forcing him out of lane, getting Triple off the map so that they as a duo could pressure Malice out of the jungle. And the adaptations that Rosethorn made and recognizing which camps were going to be super valuable for Malice to take up outside of just the buffs alone. I mean, I'm so impressed with Rosethorn's growth as a jungler, not just from last year to this year, but within this split as well. I mean, Rosethorn is really come into his own, and we will have to see what CLG have to say when we come back from break. Kangas will be on desk with our interview and CLG.
Just nothing. Ooh, what are you? People talk loud, I get what they're telling me. I fucked up, I didn't give a fit. Ooh, what a chew. Hey, I gotta say, something's going wrong, and everything's upside down. I'm falling. Hey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back for our post-series interview with CLG Academy top laner Dokla, or should I say Big Dokes, after, of course, the Super Heavyweight title match has concluded, and walking away with an even 1-1 split, so you didn't necessarily take the presidential title away from Darshan, but hey, at least you got one win under your belt there. First question for you, Dokla, is was the top lane matchup versus Darshan everything that you expected? Because we definitely hyped it up on our end.
I mean, I thought he played fine, but I feel like it's more like I made more mistakes than he played like well. So I mean, he played fine, but I think I could have performed much better on the day, and I'm glad we were able to at least get a game out. But looking forward to the rematch. Yeah.
I can't wait for that rematch either. Did you expect him to play tanks, or were you hoping for a carry matchup?
I mean, I know his champ pool pretty well. Like it's either Sion or Gragas, or he's gonna play like Tryndamere, Akshan. That's pretty much it right now. So I just gave the free scouting to everyone else. But I mean, after that, it's like I don't really know what he plays, but he plays like all those champs very well. So I mean, I had an idea of what they were gonna play, so I had just picks in mind of what I wanted to play.
Yeah, the Vayne coming out here was big. Now, the game one, all that attention towards the top side. Even game two, it felt like you were just the magnet on the map. Give me some insight into what the comms were like from CLG, and specifically Rosethorn, because he got very aggressive in the jungle, always looking to put Malice behind, while you were kind of that magnet bringing attention to your lane.
Yeah, I mean, I just died to like ganks that maybe I probably shouldn't have, but I'm Vayne, so it's like not the worst because I actually scale. And then, but Rosethorn and honestly, my whole team was doing really well of keeping Malice down and just putting a lot of pressure on him, invading his jungle camps constantly, and just picking up advantages off that. So honestly, my job was probably the easiest to not die, but I ended up dying. But that's something to improve on. And I mean, just credit to my team for carrying me this week. And yeah.
It was a team effort. I think at the end of the day, we can all agree on that. We hyped up the 1v1 matchup, but all of CLG Academy came together, and that speaks to CLG Academy as a whole. Still in first place right now. Now, we'll see what Golden Guardian series looks like, because they're the only team that could catch up to you based on performances today. How do you feel so far, confidence-wise, for the team going into the end of the season and improving grounds in the future?
I mean, I'm pretty confident we're just gonna smash literally everyone. I mean, I'm not even being like ego, but like I don't really see anyone contesting us. And I mean, this is probably like one of our worst weeks. So I mean, it's literally only better from here. And I mean, we're gonna iron out a lot of our issues and just play more cohesive together. I don't think we've like come together fully yet, and it's just gonna get better from here.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what the ceiling of CLG Academy looks like going forward. Final question. We already hyped up the heavyweight matchup 1-1, so it's undecided right now. Next time you match up against Cloud9, what do you want the 1v1 to be? Challenge Darshan on stream right now, because I don't want to see any tanks, okay?
I know he likes playing Fiora, so maybe a Fiora matchup. Gwen Fiora, maybe. I've seen him play that, but I
Okay.
feel like the Gwen sides were trolling a lot. But I mean, he's playing it well too. So I mean, that would just be fun. Yeah.
Calling out concepts, man. Wow, how could you? But regardless, congratulations on the victory to close out the day, Dokla, and best of luck going into your prep for next week. And we will be sending it to a short break before we're back with the rest of our show.